Welcome to the Weaver Podcast. I'm T.WOOD, your host. I'm a mediator, relationship coach, conflict management expert, neuroscience enthusiast, and positive psychology practitioner. We all know that relationships are filled with joy, but also unique challenges. So, through this podcast and my newsletter, I bring you tools and insights from all these fields to help you find clarity, resilience, and connection. So, whether you're navigating personal struggles or looking to strengthen relationships, the Weaver Podcast is here to guide you toward finding light and growth through every season, especially in the midst of life's toughest moments. Welcome to the Weaver Podcast. I'm T.WOOD, your host. Today we're diving into something we all experience but rarely talk about: decision fatigue. The mental exhaustion that comes from making too many choices in a day. Or if you're working on a very big project that requires your focus all the time to make big decisions, then you can also experience decision fatigue. You may not realize it, but decision fatigue doesn't just affect your productivity or personal choices, but it also impacts how you communicate, how you respond, and how you connect with others. So let's break down how it plays in our relationships, and most importantly, how to manage it before it takes it all. So recently, I've been experiencing a lot of decision fatigue, and I didn't figure out until maybe right before I record this episode. And I just couldn't make any decision anymore. I know I have a lot of decision to make for my business. I just couldn't anymore. And I was just exhausted. And I realized, I think I just can't do any decision right now. I'm having this decision fatigue. So understanding the concept is important. Decision fatigue happens when we become mentally drained from making too many choices throughout the day. The more decisions we make, the harder it becomes to think clearly, regulate emotions, and make sound judgments. And it's not just making a lot of decisions throughout the day. It can also just having one single big project that requires all of our attention and requires all of our skills to make few decisions. And that drains us a lot. And there is a reason why, big corporations have a CEO, have a board of directors, have a financial manager, or have teams that make decisions that the owner doesn't have to make all those decisions that are not necessary for him to make. So, how it shows up in everyday life. You can feel overwhelmed by small decisions. So, for example, what to eat, what to wear, how to respond to texts and emails. You can also avoid choices altogether. So, letting your partner decide everything, procrastinating. You can also feel short-tempered or disengaged in conversations, snapping at your partner over something minor or shutting down. Or you can do impulsive decisions making, choosing the easiest, not the best option that is just to get over with. For example, well, let's just warm up a pizza rather than cooking some nice meal. Um, the thing is, decision fatigue has a hidden toll on relationship. When we're mentally exhausted, it's really harder to be patient, to listen actively, to be there for the other person, or be emotionally available for the other person. And this can really lead to misunderstanding, irritability, and disconnection. At this stage, what really helps is to let your partner know, look, here's what's going on. I'm really experiencing decision fatigue right now. I just need some time. I just need a few days where it has to be a little easier for me. By expressing it loud like this, you give a call to your, let's say, give a call to your partner to understand you better, to have compassion for you, and talk on the empathy level. So, how decision impact our relationships? Of course, when we're mentally depleted, conversations become shorter, less thoughtful, usually more reactive. Instead of really engaging meaningfully, we may respond with, I don't care, do whatever you want. And this can make our partner feel unheard, unappreciated, unimportant. That's why I'm saying it's important to verbalize it. What's going on in your mind, to verbalize it. A mentally drained person is less likely to be emotionally responsive. We may become more critical, impassioned, or passive in important conversations, and this can create distance. This can create the distance, especially if our partner is carrying the mental load of decision making. Once again, very important to verbalize it. Verbalizing how you feel and why you feel how you feel to people around you can avoid everything I just said before. Really. Can avoid the misunderstanding, the feeling of being unappreciated, unimportant, can avoid all of this just because you said it. You told them. In some couples, one partner may feel overwhelmed by always having to make more decisions, while the other defers everything to them, which can lead to resentment and imbalance. And this is a dynamic of relationship I'm usually working on in one-on-one calls, because it means there is, an accumulation of resentment if something doesn't feel fair to one partner. So the dynamic of the relationship needs to be reassessed and adjusted, that there is no cumulative resentment. But before we continue, I really want to invite you to subscribe to my newsletter. I really share insights and practical tools to help you navigate everyday relationship challenges. You will receive a free resource, including my 4 Horsemen worksheet, which really helps you identify and break unhealthy communication patterns before they escalate. So you can visit my website or click on the link in description and start strengthening your relationship today. Now, I really want to provide you practical strategies to reduce decision fatigue in your relationship. So personally, the first thing I do when I observe this is accepting this week is gonna be a pretty low week, and accepting I need few days to show extra care, extra time for nap, for relaxation, for easy task, not overload my brain with useless decisions. So that's one of the first tip is reducing daily decision overload. Simplifying routine choices. So meal planning, outfits, household tasks. And well, if you have to skip cleaning this week, then you skip cleaning and no big deal about this. You need to free up that mental energy for more meaningful decisions. And you can also automate simple choices whenever possible. For example, for the meal prep, if making a list of groceries every week for the whole week is what you usually do, then do it. It simplifies everything. You don't have to figure out every day what you're gonna eat. Then the second tip is also sharing the mental load. It's part, if you want, it's my perception that it's part of the partnership when you're with someone in a relationship or when you have a family around you. It's part of the package to be there for each other. And it's really a learning curve that many people have to do in a society that is very individualistic and where individual success is more valued or more worth for other people. But if one partner is making most of the decisions, then you need to redistribute responsibilities. And that doesn't mean it's forever. That maybe means just like, right now, for example, it's tax season in US, and for many business owners, that's additional load on their work. So for this time being, it's not forever, it's just for a couple weeks or so. For this time being, then your partner can understand that you're going to be more busy than usual and you're going to have other concern than usual. And therefore, you need to redistribute responsibilities. Maybe for the couple weeks here, if you're concerned with big project, with taxes, with other things that get your mind busy, then reassess with your partner. okay, for a couple weeks or for this month, I need you to take care of this, even if usually they don't. But right now, you need them for this. So that's part of redistribute responsibilities. You can agree on areas where each partner takes the lead. So if one handles the meal planning and the other manages scheduling, or one manages the kids while the other one manages renovation in the house, and you can redistribute this. It's part, if you want it, it's part of building a life with someone else, is to work as a team. The third tip is to use a no decision rule, no brain rule for certain things. For example, um, in my household, usually my partner is the one who clean dishes. It's kind of how it's been set up since the beginning, and it's no rule, really, no decision rule. Um, as he's working later than I usually do, then I don't mind to take care of dinner usually. So it's also a no decision rule. So have a preset agreement to avoid unnecessary decisions. For example, unnecessary decisions could be, we know that every Friday night it's our date night, or any Saturday we go out for dinner, or something that you don't have to think of deciding. When you're faced with small, low impact choices, you can practice saying, "I trust your choice," instead of overthinking. The fourth tip is to schedule important conversation at a right time. So, for example, at this point when I record this episode, I have big decision, or I know I will have to make some big decisions for my business at some point or another in the near to middle future. So avoid bringing big decisions when either of you is mentally drained. Or, for example, there is some conversation that I won't have in the evening. We can have a talk just briefly saying, look, here's what's going on. I will have to make a couple decisions in the near future, but not today, not tomorrow, not this week. When you feel ready, when you're mentally available and emotionally available to make those big decisions, then you make them. But you need to give yourself the space to restore, regenerate a little bit. Choose moments when you both have more energy. You to discuss it and the other person to receive it. That will allow both of you to really engage. And the fifth tip is to recognize when your partner is experiencing decision fatigue. So since the beginning, where I'm talking like you would listen and you would have decision fatigue, but maybe your partner has decision fatigue. And if your partner seems indecisive or detached, don't push him for, it's my invitation to not push him for immediate answers. Maybe it's not the right time. And, this, when to talk about different things, what is the right time for it, and how to address the situation is one of the things that we discuss with my clients in a clarity call, because it may seem trivial, and it really is not. It's a basic of mediation to know when is it the right time to discuss some certain things. To give you a context, for example, in mediation, when I receive people for a couple hours, there is something we can talk after 2 hours, but I can assure you, if I were asking the same thing when we started, that would not have been the same outcome. So there is a real timing to discuss things, and really important. You can just offer your support instead of being frustrated because your partner seems detached, seems not caring of anything. You may, for example, say, "Oh, I see you've had a long day, you seem tired. Well, we can talk about this another time." But at least you let them know there's something going on you will need to talk about. Um, and in the end, that's the long-term benefit of managing decision fatigue is real. You really have usually more meaningful conversation, because when you're available, you're 100% available. You're really freeing up mental energy, you have more patience, you have more presence, more clarity in your interactions. You're also less defensive, less reactive, so you have more passions, you have less conflict over small things. You reduce unnecessary decision making, and that prevents frustration over trivial issues and allows really focus on what truly matters. And in the end, when both partners share the mental load, it really creates a sense of fairness between both and strengthen the relationship. So decision fatigue, is real, and it really affects not just our personal choices, but it really impacts how we show up in our relationships. By simplifying daily decisions, sharing responsibilities, and recognizing when we or our partner is overwhelmed, we can really create space for deeper connections and more thoughtful communication. It's all what I wanted to share. Please be aware if you're today experiencing decision fatigue, or if you think your partner is experiencing, or maybe a beloved one, a colleague, someone you know, a friend is experiencing decision fatigue. Be aware. Don't let this be too long. And know, with this episode, I hope you know various things you can do to and prevent it. And if it is already the case, then to overcome it. If today's episode resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe to the Weaver Podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Deezer, Apple Podcasts, the platform of your choice, for more insights on building a balanced, fulfilling relationship. And if you found this episode helpful, a quick rating or just sharing, commenting, it really helps others to discover the podcast and to discover this work. Thank you for listening, and until next time, bye-bye.